Just imagine your child walking into a room full of sound and energy. Not told to sit still, not told to focus harder, but actually encouraged to move and to express, to regulate through rhythm. Where they're not just learning music, they're building confidence and tapping into their creativity. And discovering that their ADHD brain is not broken, it's brilliant. This here is what I'm building. And the reason why I'm building it? Well, it starts with a piano riff. But to understand why, I need to take you back. Back to when my brain was loud, my body wouldn't stop moving, and music was genuinely the only thing that made sense. I could never sit still. Not in school, not at home, not even during dinner, not even watching football, which I loved. I was always moving, tapping, pacing, humming, dancing in my chair, chasing some kind of rhythm that at the time I didn't understand. It used to frustrate everyone around me, but for me, that movement was survival. It was my nervous system trying to calm the noise, and it was always tied to music. See, my dad loved music. The house was full of it. Fleetwood Mac, Phil Collins, Delamitri, Alison Moyet, a wide range of popular music that just filled the air, and I'd be completely transfixed. Those songs, whether it was the smooth sounds of Phil or the anthems of Fleetwood Mac, always grabbed me. But there was one particular track that always stuck with me, and it was Alison Moyet's Is This Love. The melody in that song, it pulled at me, something deep inside, and the way it swelled and the haunting vocals, the soft rhythm, it felt like there was a conversation that I wasn't able to fully understand, but I knew it meant something. Music wasn't just background noise, it was structure, it was sense. Those melodies, the rhythms, they added structure to my brain in ways that I didn't understand now, but now I see so clearly. Then, during my teenage years, I carved out my own little world around music. Every Saturday, me and my mates would go into town. I'd get £5 pocket money. I'd grab a Big Mac, and then I'd spend the rest of my money on a tape cassette single. It wasn't much at the time, but it actually felt like everything. Me and my mates would take those singles, record them onto a 45-minute mix and listen to them over and over again. That was our way of creating and owning the music. But it didn't stop there. Sundays, that was Stu Allen time. His legendary show on Key 103, I'd record them all. Then I'd sneak my Walkman into school. I'd hide the wires up my sleeve on my blazer, tuning into those tracks in between lessons and sometimes in lessons. Music became my world. It wasn't just a hobby, it was an obsession. The beats, the energy, the feeling it gave me, it was everything. I wasn't just listening to the music, I was living it. Then one day, I must have been about 15, I was wandering the streets of my hometown with my mates, just walking, like we always did when my brain was buzzing. An older lad pulled up in a shiny car, windows down, music blaring, and then it hit me. That piano riff. Just before it drops, there's a line in the track that says, "Feel the panic, got to have it." And that line, it felt like it had been just pulled straight out of my head. Because that's exactly what it was like growing up with an ADHD brain. Panic, urgency, craving, like I was always chasing something invisible. Then the riff drops. And then everything lights up. I didn't know what the tune was, but I had to find out. It was like the chaos inside me had finally found its soundtrack. Something that moved like me. That track completely flipped a switch. It made me feel like I wasn't alone in the way I experienced the world. And around that same time, I'd sit with my hardcore tape packs, headphones on, just getting lost. Those tapes weren't just music. They felt like they were from another world. They made me dream and wonder about the DJs, the raves, the simple freedom of it all. It felt carefree, like there was a place for people like me, a place where I didn't have to explain anything. I just belonged. Still, even with all that love for music, I didn't follow it. Because school, that was survival mode. I had tutors. I set private school exams. I was pushed to perform, to be brilliant on paper. I was pushed to further my education, to keep going with academic learning, because that was the only route anyone could see for me, or maybe even knew. But none of it made sense to me. I was confused most of the time, just trying to keep my head above the water. My parents meant well. They did just want me to succeed. But I was masking so hard, trying to fit into a system that didn't understand how my brain worked. And underneath it all, I just remember feeling like I didn't quite belong. Not in those classrooms, not in that structure. But for music never made me feel wrong. It made me feel seen, even when I was too young to put it into words. I ended up studying sport. It was my other passion, and it just felt safer. Sport had a pathway, music just felt uncertain, and I didn't know if I was good enough. I didn't see people like me doing it, not openly, not sustainably. And honestly, I don't regret going to uni. It taught me how to live independently. I learned to show up, keep going, figure things out. But with hindsight, I can see it wasn't the right path for me. Not because it was bad, but because I didn't know anything else. I was scared of not being good enough at the one thing I love most, so I didn't try. And this is where everything clicked. It wasn't about hearing the music, it was about feeling it. I started going out to clubs, experiencing the energy of the crowd and the feeling of the music in my chest, and the moment you'd walk in and everything just felt calm. And then there was this one night in a packed, sweaty club with people all around me, and I'm standing on my favourite podium and the music's booming, and I could feel the bass just thumping into my chest. And suddenly, I wasn't hearing just the music, I was living it. And in that chaos, surrounded by strangers, all of us lost in the same rhythm, I felt something shift. All the barriers, all the struggles I had communicating with others in my head just melted away. I found rapport with people that I'd never met, people that I felt I'd known forever. We're all united in the moment by the music. It felt like I belonged. For the first time, I wasn't isolated. I wasn't struggling to connect, and the rhythm gave me a common language. It was like the bridge between me and the rest of the world. And that's the power of music. It can break down walls inside of us and between us, helping to find connection, expression, and even peace in the most chaotic of moments. And then came fitness instructing, a way to channel all that energy into something productive. I discovered by using the music in fitness classes that I could move and teach at the same time, and my head just exploded. I was able to channel both my love for the music and movement into something that worked. The rhythm didn't just help me, it helped everyone around me also. And then this led to DRUHM, a vision I started building in 2022, a way to help people find their beat and rhythm in everyday life. But it wasn't until recently, when I started working with classes of children with ADHD and a lot of energy, that I realised something powerful. The drumming helped these children the most. The movement-based drumming sessions created a space where kids could finally channel their energy and focus. It was like a breakthrough. These sessions didn't just help them play music, they helped them to connect, to express, and to find calm amidst all the chaos. So I'm building a music platform specifically for ADHD and neurodivergent kids. Not a traditional music school, not about grades or perfection or sitting still. This is a space where music is felt, not forced, and where movement is allowed, where rhythm becomes regulation, and it starts with drumming. Because rhythm is primal and it connects our body and brain. And when kids move while they drum, when they tap, when they step, when they sway, and when they bounce, something powerful happens. Their brain starts to sync, the chaos settles, and then new connections form. It calms the brain and grows, and then we can evolve. From rhythm to DJing, where kids learn to blend sound, build sets, explore genres, and to perform without pressure. And then into music production, beat making, looping, storytelling around sound. And finally, creative life skills, recording themselves, sharing their work, building confidence. It's a full music and life ecosystem designed for how ADHD brains actually work. Because ADHD kids don't need fixing, they just need frameworks that move with them. So if you're a parent of a child with ADHD, what if music could be the one thing that helps your child regulate, express, and belong? What if their energy wasn't the problem, but the pathway? This isn't about forcing them to learn an instrument. It's about giving them a space where their whole brain, movement, sound, emotion is all welcome. A space where they can be themselves. And this is what I'm building, and I'd love you guys to follow along. Week by week, I'll be building this thing out, and I'd love to know your thoughts. See you next time, and in the meantime, find your beat.